Welcome to the Trades Podcast, a podcast about the business of home improvement and promoting the trades to young adults.
That's right. Here we are, everybody. Happy days. We're excited to have another episode here today for everybody. Just getting some more insight, seeing different programs, seeing different, associations, organizations that are just pushing the trades forward, bridging the gap, and we're excited. And here we go. I'm Danny.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're excited because we got Nichole Ovens with San Diego Learn. Nichole, how we doing?
I'm enjoying myself sitting here on my boat in San Diego Bay. So happy to be here joining you guys.
All right.
That's awesome. On the boat. I don't think that's a first for sure for the podcast.
Yeah. Boat from home. What is it? Work from boat. Something like that. And there's always work to do on the boat. You know, it stands for bust out another 1,000. And I just apprenticed on bottom painting this last week, and lots of trade skills with boating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had interviews in cars, on the job site, in a Starbucks, and I love it. We got, you never know where people may be, putting some work in. So we're excited to talk to you and learn about San Diego Learn. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm excited to be here talking to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so from a broad spectrum, San Diego Learn, from the trainings to leading, trying to help, lead the industry and where one understanding where it's heading. But if you can, help us give a little quick insight into San Diego Learn.
Sure. So the San Diego Learn, it stands for the Learning and Energy Resources Network. So we always have to have an acronym, just like BOAT, right? And so basically what it is an educational platform for property owners, tenants, and also so that they can learn sort of the practical improvements that save money, lower maintenance and utility costs, reduce your stress, and importantly, avoid the marketing hype. It also, the other part of what we focus on is helping trade workers and construction professionals enhance their skills to make informed recommendations and correctly install and maintain products that relate to energy efficiency, electrification, and I'd really say it falls into those three buckets: energy efficiency, electrification, and building performance.
Covers a lot.
Yeah, we have like 18 different topics that we are working to cover, and so at this point we've probably delivered and published over 450 courses and counting, served over 20,000 participants with upskilling. And then, like I said, both on the residential side, we also help with like landlord, tenants, you name the different educational audiences and topics like codes and standards that we have to cover, design and construction, net zero energy, renewables, the list goes on. So we're always trying to come up with new and engaging training, whether it be online on demand, an in-person workshop, or a live webinar that we might then also record so people could watch it later. So some of these also lead to CEUs, like valuable CEUs from NATE and BPI and LEAD. We do some courses. We got one coming up tomorrow on fire resilient building, and that's focused towards the real estate professional market, which I think is really exciting and an important one to help. They're sort of the tip of the spear with driving it down to the different trades pros.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a great, insight. One, on how it touched bases with all different levels of where hands might be on a job site. And like you mentioned, even that direct connection with the realtors, where contractors are always, speaking with those realtors or developers
Right.
to one, learn more about
Right.
what needs to be more energy efficient.
Right.
And all those programs. So tell us, dive into a little bit of how you got into Learn, and what led you up into working in the workforce development and training
Yeah.
area? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of similar. Getting back to the fire resilient, you're gonna hear the pattern that comes back to that, because I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's about high performance building, and it's about buildings as a system. So like we'll have courses on building operations, facilities management. But at the end of the day, you need to know the whole construction process, and you also need to know the entire building and how it works together. So while we might be working towards being energy efficient, there are other benefits such as, like I said, the fire resiliency. So that kind of gets to, where I come from. So I originally got a master's in public health and environmental health, international health, and that. So I had about a 20-year career doing work with Homeland Security, Health and Human Services, CDC, kind of fighting and building up a workforce capacity to beat back Ebola, H1N1, Zika, and then prepare for a big pandemic. So, in the middle of that, I ended up doing a really cool program. I'd say that was back in, I think, 2010, 11, there was the recovery through retrofit. And so because I was working in Tennessee, Jeff, in Oak Ridge, so I worked for Oak Ridge Institute for Science and Education. And we, for since like the Manhattan Project, we're doing work with the Department of Energy. And so we ended up getting some funding for this recovery through retrofit program. And the goal of that program was to bring up about 200 plus grantees around the country to be at sort of the level of, there were 8 legacy weatherization training centers. So we were bringing up the credentials and the processes that needed to be understood. So since there was a real stall in construction, we were looking at retrofit as a way to really kind of stimulate the economy. So that was a little interim in between all the pandemic stuff that I was doing. But I have to tell you, I loved it more than anything. I loved the way that the people, the experts worked in that arena, the way I like to say they have 10 additional brains in each of these fingers. And so just seeing the practical expertise was really heartening for me after, sort of Homeland Security was like, she first asked questions later. CDC, it was like, don't ever answer a question until we have all the evidence before we tell anybody wear masks or, do anything. So if you don't have the evidence, you don't do anything. So I really loved the practical nature of it. So fast forward to, I think it was 2019, I was laid off from my longtime career, and I was like, I don't think I want to keep doing this. I really want to get back into this energy efficiency and renewable energy space. So I moved to Colorado, where my family was, in Boulder, which had some of the most stringent E-codes in the country. And I was like, I need to learn solar. I need to learn renewables because I don't know that side. So I started door knocking and selling solar, was in Costco's and Home Depots and that, and then eventually learned sort of how the technical side of design and permitting, and learned the Aurora software. I think I was like building like 15 proposals a week, doing that, and then eventually met a gentleman who was a pioneer in building fire resilient homes with ICCFs. It's insulating composite concrete forms. I'm not sure if your audiences know about that, but it's a really cool product for up in the Rocky Mountains because of its strength, durability, energy efficiency, acoustical attenuation, and just fire resiliency. You could have like a 6-hour fire rating with these, and you don't have all the systems involved in your construction. So you're taking out drywall, you take out the insulation, you take out a lot of things. So it was a really interesting thing to get into. So what we were doing, so I just met up with this gentleman. I kind of understood the admin side, the marketing side, and that we founded Constructive Alternatives, which was creating net zero homes and buildings powered, heated, and cooled with 100% renewable resources. So our mantra was build green, build smart, build better. And we were really taking off. We're about to, we had just won Best of House 2024.
We want to thank our sponsor. Superior Flooring Cabinet Designs is one of the landmark family-owned businesses in Encinitas. Owner Cheryl Robertson, with years of customer experience managing her family's hardware and cabinet business in North Park. Cheryl Robertson and the Superior team dive deep to learn about your project and help you find the perfect solution for your flooring and cabinetry needs. Call today at 760-436-0900 or visit www.superiorfloors.com.
So we had just won Best of House 2024. We had a couple Marshall Fire rebuild projects, doing some solar and storage. And then also we're gearing up to do some ICCF projects. We did do one, I think only 2 or 3 ICF fire resilient homes in all of the Marshall Fire. So we had one of them. But in the middle of that project, my Silverback partner, 40 years, construction experience, Class A, building unlimited contractor, and learned solar thermal, radiant heating, all the things. He got sick, hospitalized. My crew, no, they weren't there. There was no heir apparent. And I wasn't that person. I was, good at the office stuff, project management, learning the business side. And so ended up having to take care of him in the hospital for, I don't know, most of the whole building cycle. So that was a really tough blow to the business. But in the meantime, a friend of mine from that retrofit time back in the 2010s, Amanda Hatherley, she had founded the Learn program and then had been tapped to become the CEO of the Building Performance Institute. And she said, hey, I think you would do great with this job. Take it on, come on into the Learn program. And I was like, this is exactly what we need because, I'm dealing with these folks that just really weren't there yet to take over, where my partner he learned every bit of the trades, from GC to the HVAC, the electrical, the plumbing, welding, carpentry, masonry, all of it. But, it takes a while to get there. So what I loved about the Learn program was that the goal of it was really to try to upskill the new workforce to come back to, and maybe quicker than what it took for somebody like him, like my partner, to build that kind of street credibility and just the know-how. I mean, it just takes repetition. So I'd say, there's the one side, which is the learning the skills and staying current and just constantly learning everything that there is to learn about, whether it's net zero, electrification, energy efficiency, bringing all these different trades together and how they work together, like building science, they come together. Let's get them upskilled quicker. We have another program we just won, and I'm pretty excited about that one too, because it's called Spark Your Career. And the goal is sort of the final mile, where we're hoping to get mentors supported to help, kind of like the labor unions, they do that, where you have the mentors kind of incentivized to take on a cohort and have them shadow and learn, because there's only so much you can learn online or in a classroom. A lot of the learning really is on the job and following a master or a journeyman that knows their trade. So that's my story. I just think it's important to be able to pivot, take what you know, take what you love, take who you know, and then keep on moving one step after the other, and make sure you got some sugar with that when life throws you lemons.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about what you're building now. I mean, so San Diego Learn, you had mentioned a few courses, certifications, programs. What is it that they actually receive when they go through the program?
But some of the courses is just really learning what's the latest and greatest in the technologies, who are the manufacturers doing things, this, smart home systems. We're looking to do more with like Harvest, and we've done some things with like Mitsubishi, Daikin, a lot of courses on heat pump technology, whether it's for the homeowner, for property managers, and for the trades. So there's a ton of courses that relate to HVAC, that focus area, whether it be the heat pump technology, heat pump water heater. So we've got a lot related to those topics, from 101 level to tools of the trades, to we're working on some courses about the alphabet soup of energy efficiency and building performance. So we're really trying to break it down to, helping people know the technical lingo of these different trades and fields around, again, as long as it relates to energy efficiency, building performance, and electrification, we've probably got a course on it. We do have a number of courses that will also be sort of exam prep for, we're finding a lot of people interested in like the fire resilient courses. We've got some tiny home courses, how to electrify your tiny. EPA 608, say that one's probably our most popular prep course because it leads to a certification that's very important and relevant for the HVAC techs. And then LEED GA is a big one that people are taking, that, and foundations of green building, building science principles. We've also got some new career pathways in energy efficiency and electrification courses. Title 24 is a big one that we have in our codes and standards area. So we'll have some that are very specific to a very specific topics that might be Title 24 for your ADU, and then others where it's a longer series of different courses that could lead to either NATE CEOs, BPI CEUs, LEED, and certifications. Speaking of which, we also offer stipends, free stipends, for people who might be underserved communities within the San Diego area to pay for those exams. So that's been a really cool thing that we've been able to offer.
Nichole, are all these courses online and free?
Yeah, free. I keep trying to, like, every time I talk to different partners and we try to give them grants to help us reach out more, they're like, well, what do we have to pay for this? I'm like, no, it's free. Like, but what do we have to? No, I'm trying to give you, like, we're trying to give the zoo some money, and we're trying to give like MAC Project or the YMCA's money, or Chicano Park Museum. We're just trying to give you money so that you get the word out and support your students, your potential learners, which is almost any. If you're in San Diego and you're a ratepayer of a utility bill, that's who's funding it, and that's who we're supporting. So we're supporting the trades, and we're supporting customers in the region. And then, like I said, we've got a new program too, where we're working towards supporting employers and people to actually get the jobs and the job connections, and hopefully stay in the jobs and upskill and level up in their jobs.
Very good.
Very meaningful.
We'll probably ask you again at the end of the show, but how do we find all these classes?
SanDiegoLearn.com.
Perfect. And just how it's spelled,
That's
right?
a really complicated website there. You sure?
Yeah, and it's a little secret. Even if you don't live in San Diego, it's still free. So we do. I mean, I think I even had people. I had one person. They said they were from Antarctica. Some people in Canada. Like, we're not really trying to promote it there, but somehow people like in New Jersey and Colorado, my home state, a lot of people taking the classes there too.
Google search.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's
Well,
a
that's
perfect
fantastic.
concept. Yeah, it's a perfect concept, what you have of even though it's free, online, but what you're able to do within the community and be able to get everything connected. I think that's something for a lot of people that might be listening is a big talking point right there.
Yeah. We're actually, shortly after this, I'm heading down to San Diego City College and we're doing an industry webinar with my buddy Amanda. She's going to be dialing in to City College and talking about career pathways that relate to like energy auditing, telling her story, and also one of the board members who started out as an HVAC technician and just built up his business there, and now he is like a national expert on energy auditing and electrification and everything that relates to building performance. So I think it's really important, you spend about 80% of your time on the trade that brings in, pays the bills, but make sure you set aside that 20% to understand the whole and other areas because, the riches are in the niches.
Hmm.
And I think energy efficiency and electrification is a niche that smart trades businesses. I think if I could redo constructive alternatives, I might have gone HVAC and just focus on heat pump installs with all of the rebates. That's another thing. We're doing courses on rates, rebates, and incentives. So how do you stack those together as a homeowner? How do you teach contractors how to tell the homeowners about those rate structures and rebates that make these retrofits really cost effective?
Hmm.
Nichole, when people are logging in and viewing the classes and stuff, are you getting a feeling or stats that show what skills are in the biggest shortage right now?
It's funny that you say that. I don't know that our stats would show that as much. What I can say is our our majority of courses really are falling into that HVAC category. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, California has the 6 million heat pumps by 2030. So there's heat pump technology and heat pump water heater installation technology. So I'm seeing a lot of the interest there from our training partners and, the audience is coming in. So that I can say. We did recently, with the new program, do a landscape analysis of the employment circumstances in San Diego. And what
Okay.
was surprising in that was it was less about the technical skills and more about professionalism skills, which kind of goes back to my story, right? Is when you're not showing up on time, you don't have your own tools, you don't have a truck. You got to get your buddy's truck to take you to the job site. You're maybe not wearing your shirt well, or maybe you don't wash it. There's grooming, professionalism, sales, communication, how to talk to a customer, project management, how to plan, not just be in the moment, but think ahead 3 more steps. That I think that's what we were really actually finding more of, regardless of the technical skills. And then the biggest is constantly wanting to learn and add value, because that's what business owners are looking for, is can you sell the work that you're doing, or am I going to have to send 10 more truck rolls after what you did? So I think it's really important to have critical thinking skills, know when to ask a question and when to be proactive. Like, don't go and put in the plumbing wrong and now I've got to rip it all out and do it again. That happened.
So
Things like that.
you're seeing people enter the trades without soft skills?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow.
I've kind of worked on not calling them soft skills anymore. I would call them essential skills. Because to me, the way I see it is, if you really want to move up in wherever you are in your career. It's those skills that take you further. It's your communication, selling, project management, planning, time management, value engineering. Those kinds of things are the things that, you're going to level up. You need to learn business skills like what's the difference between margin and markup, and why should you maybe add another $1,000 to your install so you've just increased your profit margin by 100% and only increased your cost to the customer by 10%. I mean, these kinds of things are essential skills to build your career.
I definitely would agree with all that. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
kids coming out of high school seem to be lacking some soft skills, though.
Truly. Yeah, just
Right.
like phones. Don't vape on the job site. Pick up after yourself. I think it's important to remember that where you are, whether you're a grunt, you're a helper, it's how you show up right now today that determines who you are for your lifetime. So if you're coming to the job site, you're eager, you're there early, you're dressed professionally, you're asking good questions, and you're always moving and doing something, picking something up, doing something to try to provide value or learn something new. That, I think, is just essential to being successful, whether it's in skilled trades or moving up into more of the project management, supervisor, estimating, business owner.
Yeah, I think it applies to any career.
Really, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and would you say, I mean, you're working with, maybe if you can elaborate a little more, are you working with directly students right now and also business owners to get them connected? And are contractors and say business owners taking advantage of these trainings?
I would say not yet. The new program where we are working more with employers, it's actually funded differently. It's San Diego Community Power runs the San Diego Regional Energy Network to help build up IDSM careers. So hence we are building an alphabet soup of energy efficiency, because what the heck? We talked to all these HVAC people, like, well, we don't do ADSM. Like, yes, you do. Yes, you do. And so this program that we're doing with San Diego Regional Energy Network is it's Spark Your Career. They've also got a Spark Your Education, a codes, reach codes and code coaching program. So there's all these programs going on right now that are going to be offering employers and employees, students, free services, free coaching, mentoring, training. I mean, I'm really hoping that we can add in more shadowing type of work, but I'm very excited about the fact that the energy coaching model is out there, because they're going to have coaches helping people with the codes, understanding the codes, deciphering that, improving upon the permitting processes, training the plans examiners, and we're starting with them and those the inspectors, and then ideally making a more collaborative environment between the plans examiners, the inspectors, and then the contractors, because sometimes I think, at least my experience, it can sometimes get adversarial. I'm guessing you never
But,
experienced that one.
building inspectors
What
sometimes.
it will take to get to a CO. Just let's get that CO.
Any advice for them to like pick a career, or if they're picking a career, where to go to get information on that and stuff?
Well, we have a Your Path in the Trades. It's like a 5-minute short course right at the beginning that kind
Okay.
of gives an outline for that. Also, in our homepage, we have like sort of a career map. I will say it's focused more on the energy pathways, and I think what I am excited by with it is that you can get into an energy career without the long, drawn out electrical contractor pathway, which, it takes a long time to apprentice. I think of it like being a doctor, right? You've got a long pathway in the electrical trade. But you can really get into energy auditing and other places, a lot of times through HVAC, carpentry, um, even where I came from, where I'm had nothing to do with holding tools. But there's a lot with diagnostics and getting into the home and testing, doing blower door tests, all the things that relate to these energy audits that are required in order to meet these more and more stringent E-codes. So I think it's important to not just think you have to go the electrical pathway to do well. See, there are little bypasses to get there quicker. And so I think getting the building science principles certificate, maybe start with some NATE ready to work, NATE technician. It's a little bit faster pathway to get going. But again, like I said, if I were starting over, I'd probably learn HVAC.
Yeah. And there's also, I would believe, if you've got a good understanding of like energy efficiency or the solar industry, and you present yourself well, sales is a great opportunity too.
That was my path. I mean, like I said, I was doing all this stuff in public health and preventing pandemics, and I was like, I wanted to know about renewable energy, and I was a single mom, raising a daughter, and I didn't have time to go back to school, so I just beat the streets and started door knocking, and I learned a lot about solar that way. Just do it. I mean, had a lot of doors that didn't open for me, but that teaches you a lot about developing a thick skin. Yeah, sales
It
is,
does.
yeah, just learning how to explain technical concepts to people, helping them to solve, what is their pain point, solve their problem, come up with a solution that they might not have thought of. I think when you are trusted to be bringing a solution that's not a one-size-fits-all solution, that's a really special skill.
Absolutely. And that's something you really can start at a very young career with that.
Yeah, I have a really cool story on that. The people that taught me, the one of the best door knockers, she's now just like one of the top talents in solar pros. I think she was 21 or 22 when I met her. And I mean, she was a dynamo. I mean, she had no fear. She could just sell it and was so trusted. And then when I ended up at Ecology Solar, I was learning from a gentleman who taught me so much, and he could have been my son. And I learned so much from him. He just really was so passionate about the technical side, he was working on his drone pilot skills, the NABCEP technical sales and designer certification pathways. I think, getting into the drone operation is huge in construction and in solar. So, I mean, that's another pathway that you don't need a ton of time to just jump right in. There's just so much need. Think
Absolutely.
about it. Real estate agents need that. And
Roofers.
yeah, 100% roofers, solar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And aren't all the electrical companies using drones now to inspect power lines?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, that was probably going to be my next move if I didn't get this wonderful job with Learn. I was going to work on my drone pilot license. Seemed like a lot of fun. I mean, in marketing, there's a lot of need for that in marketing. We use drones with our business. We went to all the different job sites that my partner had done in the past. Got some great drone imagery for our website. This really made a big difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, the opportunities that are continuously just being rotated, and they're developing with technology too. Just like you said, the drones is one aspect, but even we were just talking about it before in a previous episode of, when you flip a light switch, you think it's a simple a task, but once you actually, are on a job site from development of the foundation all the way down to the last bolt, you're going to see it, how more integrated and complex these systems have to communicate with each other in order to work. And
Hmm.
yeah, those, and it just there's always going to be a new position, or like you mentioned, like a niche area that people are
Hmm.
have to start learning some new skills.
Yeah. Yeah, I would, I'm thinking back to like my partner who was like the expert master builder, and we would get to that phase. It happened also when I was with Ecology Solar, where it was the commissioning of systems and then dealing with interconnection agreements. Like, you just don't think about how much time that requires, but you have to have somebody that's like not afraid of playing with the technology. I mean, there's so much um, training that you can get in. It's all free from the different manufacturers. So I would say if you're getting into it, learn one, find out which one you want to do. So like another site I would recommend is energysage.com. They've moved beyond just being solar and storage. They're getting into having heat pump information, but that was my learning. Um, I guess that was my proving ground when I got into solar. And I guess when I came to learn, I remembered that. I was like, that was such an awesome platform, the way they had set that up and created the reviews. And what would be very helpful was learning which technologies weren't failing, which ones were easy to work with, which was easy to commission, which ones didn't cause a lot of callbacks, for like
Yeah.
inverter technologies, and how they coordinate with the smart home technologies. There's new products out now that you don't have to do a main panel upgrade in order to shut down certain circuits and things like that. It costs a little
Okay.
bit more, but yeah, those kind of technologies are really good to stay on top of. And there's constantly these opportunities where people are smart. They're finding that void. You can use AI to create apps now that can teach technical skills really quickly. Like one of our partners is Aaron Gianni, up in he's more up in the Bay Area. He started up an app called Plunger, and basically it's like you can ask an expert when you're in the field in the moment trying to install that heat, harvest heat pump. And like, what do I do here? And you can just jump on the line. So while Master Plumber, you can have access to a Master Plumber while you're in the field. So whether you're a homeowner or DIYer, you can get that help. And that's kind of where, since my partner, was hospitalized, we've gone from build green, build smart, build better to just building better builders. So now he's just consulting with homeowners that want to build themselves and do it themselves. And you just give them the advice along the way, keep them out of trouble, save them thousands of dollars in good shopping and design, good design engineering,
Mhm.
or
Wow.
value engineering, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. I mean, this is great insight. I mean, with the numerous programs and like the resources that San Diego Learn has, and again, you're based in San Diego. Obviously, it's in the name, but it's anybody can come visit this. So if you could help us shine the light of where do we reach out to you, how how does someone with pun intended learn more or get started?
So, like I said, san diego learn.com, and always welcome to email us at sdlearn@resource-innovations.com. I think it's probably easier just to go to san diego learn.com. And we have forums and things like that where you can ask a question, and we can also refer you to other programs like Energy Code Ace and some of these programs that are just getting off the ground. They haven't really gotten the legs that we've been able to get since the last couple of years, but always happy to help the trades pros build better.
Fantastic. Well, sounds like a great resource out there for not just homeowners, but people getting into trades, experienced people wanting to expand on their learning capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, amazing. Awesome. Well, before you go, Nichole, we got some questions for you. This is what we call a little segment. It's called 5 in 5. Are
Okay.
you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right. This is the 5 on 5. All right, check it out. So, first question. What's one habit that made you more successful?
What doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. Put it on your calendar and make sure you build in time for it, because being optimistic is the fastest way to lose money.
All right, perfect. Thank you. And then second one, what skill is becoming more valuable every year?
Being able to learn new technology, learn new skills quickly, being able to pivot, be adaptable, be trainable, be curious.
Love it. Love it. Great answer. Third one, should you hire for skill or attitude?
Attitude.
Awesome. Next one right here. What's one thing you delegate now that you used to do yourself?
Who's some of the instructional design work? I'm not as good at that as some of my amazing, amazing team members. They're incredible instructional designers.
all right.
Amazing. All right, good. Yeah, and then we got the last one right here. What's one change in the trades you actually welcome?
I'm really excited about the electrification movement. Just everything electrifying. It's going to cost more in the beginning, but with smart engineering and thinking in a systematic way around your property and your building science, like that electrification movement, it's not going away. And I think that is going to usher in every kind of good thing.
Awesome. Thank
Very
you
good.
again. That was the 5 on 5.
Yep. Nichole nailed it.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you again, Nichole. Great to see you again and just learn again, get in more depth with San Diego Learn. And we're excited to share this out to everybody. Once you see it, reach out to Nichole, SanDiegoLearn.com, and reach out, get some more information. You're a contractor, you're someone that wants to learn more skills, or just get involved. They are the ones to speak to. So thank you again, Nichole.
Thanks, Danny. Thanks, Jeff. Have a great day. And Jeff, enjoy East Tennessee.
I am. I love it out here.
Country. We'll see you,
All right. Take care, everybody. This is the Trades Podcast. We'll see everybody next time.